DEMOCKER. Ambassador Sarah Chen took a deep breath before stepping into the grand chamber of the Galactic Assembly. Her worn military boots clicked against the polished crystal floor, creating an echo that seemed to mock her presence among the sophisticated alien delegates. The assembly hall towered above her, a masterpiece of quantum architecture that defied conventional physics, making her feel insignificant. As she approached the central platform, hundreds of alien eyes turned toward her. Some glowed with bioluminescence, others were compound structures that reflected the ambient light, but all held the same expression, barely concealed contempt. The exilotary delegation, with their translucent bodies shimmering like living diamonds, whispered among themselves. The Torgan representatives, massive beings encased in floating exoskeletons, made no effort to hide their derision. "The human delegate may present," announced Prime Arbitrator Vexus, his multiple appendages gesturing with elegant precision. The Keltharian's voice resonated through the chamber's translation field, converting his complex harmonics into something Sarah could understand. "Honored members of the Assembly," Sarah began, activating her holographic display. "Earth requests permission to present our defensive fleet for inclusion in the Galactic Defense Network." The hologram materialized above the chamber, showing Earth's fleet in orbit around their blue planet. Immediately, a wave of laughter rippled through the assembly. The ships displayed were blocky, utilitarian vessels with thick armor plating and visible weapon ports. They looked like children's toys compared to the sleek, energy-based vessels of the other species. "Are these relics from your museums?" chuckled Ambassador Thrix of the Meridian Collective, his crystalline form pulsing with amusement. "They still use physical projectiles. And look at those propulsion systems. Chemical rockets. The armor appears to be simple titanium alloy," noted a Zorathian scientist, her three eyes scanning the specifications. "No quantum shielding, no plasma barriers. How primitive." Sarah maintained her composure, though her hands clenched at her sides. "These vessels have served Earth well for over a century. They are reliable and effective." "Effective against what?" "Asteroids." The joke from the Torgan delegate prompted another round of laughter. Prime Arbitrator Vexus raised his appendages for silence. "Ambassador Chen, while we appreciate Earth's enthusiasm, the Galactic Defense Network requires vessels that meet our technological standards. Perhaps in another century, when your species has developed proper quantum drives and energy weapons." "With respect, Prime Arbitrator," Sarah interrupted, causing gasps throughout the chamber at her breach of protocol. "Earth's intelligence services have detected unusual activity in the outer sectors." "We believe." Yes, we've seen your reports," Vexus dismissed with a wave. "Sensor ghosts, nothing more. The galaxy has been at peace for millennia. Your species' history of conflict makes you see threats where none exist." Meanwhile, light years away in the depths of space, Commander Jake Reynolds stood on the bridge of the U.S. Ironclad, one of Earth's ancient battleships. The vessel's interior was all function over form: steel bulkheads, manual controls, and analog displays that seemed laughably outdated compared to the holographic interfaces of alien ships. "Status report," Reynolds ordered, his weathered face illuminated by the amber glow of the tactical displays. "All systems nominal, sir," replied Lieutenant Maria Kovacs. "The Ghost Fleet is maintaining radio silence. Nobody knows we're out here." Reynolds nodded, studying the star charts. For months, Earth's deep space monitoring stations had detected anomalies, strange energy signatures, disappearing patrol ships, and most concerning, systematic probing of defense grids across multiple systems. The pattern was unmistakable to anyone who had studied military history, but the pampered species of the Galactic Assembly had grown complacent in their technological superiority. "Sir, incoming transmission from Ambassador Chen," the communications officer announced. Reynolds moved to the secure terminal. Sarah's face appeared, her expression grim. "They laughed us out of the chamber, Jake. Called our ships museum pieces. Let them laugh. Reynolds replied. Did you warn them about the outer sector readings? They dismissed it as sensor ghosts. They're too arrogant to see what's coming. Reynolds sighed. Then we proceed with Operation Legacy. If they won't let us protect them officially, we'll do it our way. Back on Earth, in a hidden facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Elena Novik made a startling discovery. The elderly scientist had been analyzing the energy signatures from the outer sectors, comparing them to classified archives from Earth's early space exploration era. This can't be right, she muttered, adjusting her glasses as she studied the data. The patterns matched almost perfectly with energy readings from an incident in 2157, an incident that had been classified and buried so deep that even most of Earth's leadership didn't know about it. She activated her secure line to Admiral Patricia Wong, head of Earth's Strategic Space Command. Admiral, we have a problem. The energy signatures match the Varkath. Admiral Wong's face paled on the screen. That's impossible. The Varkath were driven back over 2 centuries ago. They were supposed to be extinct. The readings don't lie, Admiral. They're back, and they're using the same energy-draining weapons that nearly destroyed our first colony ships. Wong was silent for a moment, processing the implications. That's why our ancestors kept the old fleet. They knew. The electromagnetic pulse weapons, the kinetic projectiles, the mechanical systems, they're all immune to Varkath energy-draining technology. Elena confirmed. While everyone else was building fancy quantum ships that could be disabled with a single Varkath pulse, we kept the simple stuff that actually works. The Admiral nodded grimly. Alert the Ghost Fleet. It's time to show the galaxy why humans never threw away their ancient technology. As the Galactic Assembly continued their session, mocking humanity's backward ways and discussing trade agreements, none of them noticed the subtle fluctuations in their peripheral sensor nets. The Varkath scout ships were already inside the outer defense perimeter, their adaptive camouflage making them virtually invisible to the advanced detection systems of the galaxy's proud civilizations. In the Xilari home system, a patrol of their most advanced vessels suddenly went dark. No distress signal, no debris field. They simply ceased to exist. The incident was logged as a technical malfunction and forgotten amidst bureaucratic procedures. On the bridge of the Ironclad, Commander Reynolds received the activation codes. All hands, this is the commander. Operation Legacy is now active. For 2 centuries, our ancestors kept these ships hidden and maintained, knowing this day might come. While others laughed at our primitive technology, we remembered the old threats. We remembered the Varkath. He paused, looking at his crew, men and women who had trained in secret, maintaining skills that the rest of the galaxy considered obsolete. They have their quantum shields and plasma weapons. We have steel, gunpowder, and the stubborn human refusal to forget our history. Let's show them why that matters. The Ghost Fleet powered up their reactors, nuclear fission systems that the galaxy had abandoned centuries ago in favor of more elegant solutions. But unlike the quantum cores that the Varkath could drain in seconds, these reactors were immune to their weapons. As Ambassador Chen left the assembly chamber, enduring the condescending farewells of her alien counterparts, she allowed herself a small smile. They would learn soon enough why humans kept their old ways. Sometimes, the most advanced solution was the one that simply worked. The Varkath invasion had begun, and only Earth's ancient fleet stood ready to face it. The galaxy was about to receive a harsh lesson in the value of simplicity, redundancy, and never forgetting that sometimes the old ways were the best ways. In the vast expanse of space, the blocky, primitive human ships began to move, their crews ready to prove that technology wasn't always about complexity. Sometimes it was about reliability. And when it came to reliability, nothing beat human engineering that had been tested, proven, and secretly maintained for generations. The mockery would soon turn to desperate pleas for help, and humanity would answer, not with quantum fields and plasma bursts, but with steel, determination, and the wisdom to never abandon what worked. The invasion. The first sign of trouble came at dawn on Xerxes Prime, a jewel of the Xilari civilization. Their quantum detection grid, spanning light years of space, suddenly flickered and died. Moments later, sleek obsidian ships materialized above their crystal cities, their hulls absorbing light like black holes. High Chancellor Zephix of the Xilari watched in horror from his floating citadel as his people's most advanced warships rose to meet the threat. The Xilari Star Dancers were marvels of engineering, vessels that could phase through solid matter, powered by quantum singularities, armed with weapons that could destabilize stars. Fire at will, Zephix commanded, his translucent form pulsing with agitation. The Star Dancers unleashed their arsenal. Beams of pure energy lanced toward the invaders, carrying enough power to vaporize small moons. But as the weapons struck the Varkath ships, something impossible happened. The energy beams curved, twisted, and were absorbed into the black hulls like water into a sponge. Then the Varkath struck back. Pulses of sickly green energy washed over the Xilari fleet. Quantum cores sputtered and died. Artificial intelligence systems crashed. Navigation computers went dark. In seconds, the most advanced fleet in the galaxy became floating coffins, drifting helplessly as their life support systems failed. Mayday! Mayday! The distress calls flooded every channel. This is Xilari Command. We are under attack by unknown forces. Our technology is failing. Request immediate assistance. The message reached the Galactic Assembly, where panic erupted. Species after species reported similar attacks. The Meridian Collective's plasma ships dissolved under Varkath fire. The Torgan's mighty dreadnoughts, with their antimatter reactors, imploded when their containment fields were drained. Prime Arbitrator Vexus frantically tried to coordinate a response, but every fleet sent against the Varkath met the same fate. Advanced technology became a liability as energy weapons fizzled, shields collapsed, and propulsion systems failed. Far from the chaos, aboard the U.S. Ironclad, Commander Reynolds listened to the distress calls with grim satisfaction. Status of the Ghost Fleet. All ships reporting ready, sir, Lieutenant Kovacs replied. Ammunition loaded, armor integrity at maximum, all mechanical systems green. Signal the fleet. It's time to remind the galaxy why humans never forgot the old ways. Across human space, hidden bunkers opened. Ships that looked like they belonged in museums powered up their reactors. The U.S. Thunderbolt, with its massive railguns and thick armor plating, emerged from its asteroid base. The HMS Victory, bristling with missile tubes and point defense cannons, broke lunar orbit. The FSS Defiant, its hull scarred from ancient battles, led a squadron of fighters that still used chemical propulsion. As Earth's fleet assembled, Ambassador Chen stood before the Galactic Assembly once more. This time, the chamber was filled with fear rather than mockery. "Honored members," she began, her voice steady, "Earth's offer to join the defense network still stands. Our primitive ships are now your best hope." "But how?" demanded Ambassador Thrix, his crystalline form dim with fear. "The invaders disable all advanced technology." "Not all technology," Chen replied. She activated a hologram showing the Varkath energy signature. "We faced them before. In 2157, they attacked our early colonies. We learned that their weapons create an energy-draining field that affects quantum systems, artificial intelligence, and advanced energy weapons. But simple mechanical systems, chemical reactions, and basic electronics are immune. That's why you kept those ancient ships." Prime Arbitrator Vexus realized, his multiple eyes widening. "We never forgot the lesson. Always have a backup plan. And sometimes the simplest solution is the best." The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Xerxes Prime, where Varkath ships were methodically destroying the helpless Xilari vessels. The aliens who had mocked Earth's technology now watched in desperate hope. "All ships, this is ironclad," Reynolds broadcast. "Weapons free." Show them why gunpowder never goes out of style. The human ships opened fire. Railguns launched tungsten projectiles at significant fractions of light speed. Nuclear-tipped missiles streaked through space. Point defense cannons filled the void with streams of depleted uranium rounds. The Varkath, accustomed to enemies whose weapons simply stopped working, were caught completely off guard. Their energy-absorbing hulls, designed to handle exotic particles and directed energy, crumpled under the impact of simple kinetic weapons. Their shields, calibrated for quantum fluctuations, offered no protection against old-fashioned explosives. A Varkath cruiser took a direct hit from the Thunderbolt's main gun. The tungsten rod punched through its hull like paper, detonating its power core from the inside. Another fell victim to a swarm of nuclear missiles from the Victory, its sophisticated point defense systems unable to track the primitive weapons. On the bridge of his flagship, Varkath Commander Zorax watched in disbelief as his invasion force was torn apart by technology his species had deemed obsolete millennia ago. Impossible. These are primitive kinetic weapons. How are they penetrating our defenses? His science officer's tendrils quivered in confusion. Commander, our shields are designed for energy weapons and quantum effects. These projectiles have mass and velocity. Our systems aren't calibrated for such basic attacks. Recalibrate them. We can't. The humans are using mechanical targeting systems. Our electronic warfare suite can't affect them. The battle raged across the Xerxes system. Human fighters, burning chemical fuel and firing autocannons, danced between the larger ships. They lacked the grace of energy-based craft, but made up for it with raw firepower and pilots who had trained for this exact scenario. Lieutenant Sofia Martinez led her squadron against a Varkath battleship. Remember your training. They can't jam our radios or hack our systems. Stay in formation and hit them where it hurts. Her fighters unleashed their payload, simple iron bombs with chemical explosives. In space combat, where energy weapons could be deflected or absorbed, the ancient concept of dropping heavy objects proved devastatingly effective. The bombs punched through the Varkath hull, detonating inside and causing catastrophic decompressions. Across the galaxy, word spread of humanity's intervention. Species that had laughed at Earth's backward ways now begged for their help. The Torgan, their mighty empire crumbling, sent desperate pleas. The Meridian Collective offered anything for human protection. In the assembly chamber, Prime Arbitrator Vexus formally requested Earth's aid. Ambassador Chen, we were wrong. Your ancient fleet is our only hope. Will you help us? Chen nodded. We will. But understand this. Humans don't just prepare for the threats we can see. We prepare for the ones we remember, the ones others have forgotten. That's why we kept our old ships, our simple weapons, our mechanical systems, because we knew that someday, someone would assume that newer always means better. Commander Reynolds coordinated the defense of multiple systems simultaneously. Human ships, ugly and blocky compared to their alien counterparts, proved to be exactly what was needed. Their thick armor shrugged off Varkath energy weapons. Their mechanical systems continued functioning in the face of electronic warfare. Their crews, trained in manual operation, adapted quickly when automation failed. The tide of battle turned decisively when humanity revealed its trump card. Deep in Earth's oceans, ancient submarines have been retrofitted for space combat. These vessels, designed for stealth and devastating first strikes, emerged from hyperspace behind Varkath lines. The U.S. Nautilus, its hull painted void black, launched a spread of torpedoes at the Varkath command ship. The weapons, guided by simple gyroscopes rather than vulnerable AI, found their targets with deadly precision. The Varkath flagship, pride of their fleet, broke apart under the assault. As news of the victory spread, the mockery that had greeted humanity's fleet transformed into awe. The Xilari, saved from extinction, declared humans their eternal allies. The Torkan offered their most precious resources in gratitude. The entire Galactic Assembly stood in ovation as Ambassador Chen returned to the chamber. But the war was far from over. The Varkath had revealed their hand too early, their invasion force merely a vanguard. Deep in uncharted space, their main fleet gathered, preparing for a final assault that would determine the fate of the galaxy. And humanity, with its ancient fleet and unshakable determination, stood ready to meet them. The Victory, the Varkath mothership, emerged from dark space like a cancer spreading across the stars. It dwarfed anything the galaxy had ever seen, a biomechanical horror the size of a small moon, its surface writhing with energy-draining tentacles that could ensnare entire planets. Commander Reynolds stood on the bridge of the ironclad, studying the tactical display with narrowed eyes. Around him, the combined fleet of humanity and the Galactic Assembly formed up for what everyone knew would be the final battle. "Sir, the alien commanders are requesting another strategy meeting," Lieutenant Kovacs reported, a hint of frustration in her voice. Reynolds shook his head. "Tell them we stick to the plan. Their ships provide support and evacuation. Our fleet takes point." The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The same species that had mocked Earth's primitive technology now huddled behind human ships, their advanced vessels reduced to medical frigates and transport craft. Only human weapons could harm the Varkath, and only human ships could withstand their energy-draining fields. On Earth, Dr. Elena Novak made a breakthrough that would change everything. Working with recovered Varkath technology from the First War, she had discovered something remarkable in the ancient archives. "Admiral Wong, you need to see this," she said, calling up a holographic display. "The Varkath aren't just using technology. They're partly biological. Their energy-draining ability is organic, like an electric eel, but on a massive scale." Admiral Wong leaned forward. "What are you saying, Doctor?" "I'm saying we've been fighting them wrong. Their ships, their weapons, they're alive. And living things have weaknesses that pure machines don't." The revelation spread quickly through human command. New weapons were hastily manufactured and loaded onto the fleet. Not advanced energy weapons, but simple chemical compounds, biological agents, and electromagnetic pulse devices calibrated to disrupt organic neural networks. The final battle began with a Varkath assault that should have been overwhelming. The mothership unleashed waves of energy that could have disabled entire solar systems. But the human fleet had learned from every encounter, adapted their tactics, and prepared countermeasures. "All ships, execute Protocol Omega," Reynolds ordered. The human vessels deployed their secret weapon, clouds of simple iron filings mixed with chemical compounds Dr. Novak had developed. As the Varkath energy waves hit the clouds, they dissipated harmlessly, the biological components of their weapons reacting violently to the chemical mixture. The Varkath, for the first time in their long history of conquest, hesitated. "Now," Reynolds commanded. "All batteries, fire." The human fleet unleashed everything they had. Rail guns fired depleted uranium rounds coated with the new chemical compounds. Missiles carrying electromagnetic warheads designed to disrupt organic systems streaked toward the mothership. Fighter squadrons dropped bombs filled with corrosive agents that ate through the Varkath's biomechanical armor. On the alien command ship observing from a safe distance, Ambassador Thrix watched in awe as the humans fought. "They're not just using brute force," he realized. "They're using chemistry, biology, physics, every basic science we abandoned for more elegant solutions." Prime Arbitrator Vexus nodded slowly. "We forgot that the universe operates on fundamental principles, not just advanced theories." The humans never forgot. The battle raged for hours. The Varkath mothership, despite its vast size and power, found itself vulnerable to attacks it had never encountered. Its organic components recoiled from the chemical weapons. Its energy systems overloaded when hit with electromagnetic pulses. Its biomechanical armor cracked and split under sustained kinetic bombardment. But the Varkath had one final trick. The mothership began to pulse with a deep, rhythmic energy that resonated through space itself. It was preparing to unleash a weapon that would drain all energy from the entire star system, a last resort doomsday device. "Commander, we're detecting massive energy buildup in the mothership," the science officer reported. "If it releases that pulse, everything within 10 light years will go dark." Reynolds made a decision that would be remembered for generations. "Signal all ships. Prepare for ramming speed." "Sir." Kovacs turned to him in shock. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," Reynolds said grimly. "And sometimes the only way to stop a monster is to drive a stake through its heart." The ironclad surged forward, its nuclear engines pushed beyond their limits. Other human ships followed, understanding the desperate gambit. They would use their own vessels as kinetic weapons, driving deep into the mothership before it could unleash its doomsday pulse. But then something unexpected happened. The alien ships, those same vessels that had been deemed useless against the Varkath, moved to join the charge. "Human Commander," came a transmission from the Xilari flagship. "You have shown us the value of simple courage. Allow us to prove we have learned." "The Torgans stand with Earth," another voice added. "The Meridian Collective remembers its debts," a third chimed in. Together, the combined fleet raced toward the Varkath mothership. The alien vessels couldn't damage the enemy, but they could provide cover, absorb fire, and clear a path for the human ships. The ironclad, battered but unbroken, punched through the mothership's outer defenses. Reynolds targeted the central core, where Dr. Novak's analysis suggested the organic control center was located. "All hands, brace for impact." The collision was cataclysmic. The ironclad drove deep into the mothership's structure, its reinforced prow designed for exactly this purpose. Other human ships followed, each finding weak points identified through careful analysis of the enemy's biological nature. Inside the mothership, human Marines in sealed environmental suits fought their way through corridors that pulsed like arteries. They carried not plasma rifles or quantum disruptors, but simple projectile weapons and chemical sprayers. Captain Marcus Chen led the assault team. "Remember, this thing is alive. Treat it like any other organism. Find the brain, find the heart, and kill it." They fought through antibody-like defenders, creatures that seemed part machine, part organism, but human determination and basic weaponry proved effective against enemies that had evolved to counter only advanced technology. Finally, they reached the core, a massive chamber where a brain-like structure pulsed with sickly light. Without hesitation, Chen ordered his team to deploy their payload, simple explosives packed with the chemical compounds Dr. Novak had developed. The explosion ripped through the organic control center. Throughout the mothership, systems began to fail. The doomsday pulse faltered and died. The great vessel shuddered, its death throes sending shockwaves through space. "All ships, evacuate now," Reynolds ordered as the ironclad's engines strained to pull free from the dying mothership. They made it out just as the Varkath vessel imploded, its organic structure unable to maintain cohesion without its control center. The remaining Varkath ships, suddenly cut off from their hive mind, flood into dark space. The galaxy was saved, and humanity had proven that sometimes the oldest solutions were the best ones. In the aftermath, as the Galactic Assembly gathered to honor Earth's defenders, a remarkable transformation had taken place. The mockery was gone, replaced by genuine respect and a desire to learn. Ambassador Chen stood before the assembly one final time. "Let this be a lesson to all of us. Progress doesn't mean abandoning what works. Wisdom lies in knowing when to advance and when to remember." Humanity kept its ancient fleet not out of stubbornness, but out of prudence. Prime Arbitrator Vexus bowed deeply. "Earth has earned more than membership in our defense network. You have earned the right to lead it." As the assembly erupted in approval, Commander Reynolds watched from the bridge of the battle-scarred ironclad. His crew was already working on repairs, maintaining the simple systems that had saved the galaxy. "Sir," Lieutenant Kovacs asked, "do you think they've really learned?" Reynolds smiled. "Some have. Others will forget again in time. That's why we'll keep our old ships ready, our simple weapons maintained, and our memories sharp, because that's what humans do. We prepare for the threats others refuse to see. In the years that followed, Earth became the guardian of the galaxy, not through technological superiority, but through wisdom, preparation, and the understanding that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. The ancient fleet remained active, a reminder that true strength lies not in complexity, but in reliability. And somewhere in the depths of space, in hidden bases known only to a few, humans continued to maintain even older weapons, even simpler systems, always preparing for the next threat that others would dismiss until it was almost too late. Because that's what humanity did best: remember, prepare, and stand ready when the galaxy needed them most.